Pacific Council represents something very important in our society, very important in democracies. That is the effort to educate and to engage our citizens in debate about the great issues of our time.
Abe Lowenthal, who was the founder of the Pacific Council, he called me and said, I want to put together what became the Pacific Council on International Policy, because I think that Southern California, the West Coast, could use a vital entity that's focused on international relations and foreign policy, and that focuses on the strengths of the Western United States, where we're closer to Asia and we're closer to Latin America. It struck me that this was actually a simple but brilliant idea, and something that LA and Southern California and the West Coast and California could really use, if not actually badly need.
If you think of the 90s, actually it was in the middle of that expansion of the whole Pacific Rim consciousness, the rise of Japan in the 70s and 80s. I guess China was still a bit of a twinkle in people's eyes, clearly an important country, but not where it is now. But the whole Asia-Pacific expansion had happened in the 80s, and so by the early 90s it really made sense, and maybe was a little bit of a blind spot in terms of policy.
The Pacific Council is deeply indebted to a number of its founders, primarily Bob Erbaru from Times Mirror, who believed in the Council when it was still an idea. He brought in John Bryson from Edison, eventually our co-chair and still a member of our board, and finally President Stephen Sample of the University of Southern California, with whom the Pacific Council still has a partnership and a deep relationship. Taking the idea from the drawing board to reality clearly was the work of our founding president and President Emeritus Abe Lowenthal. Abe was followed by Jeff Garrett, who was our president and currently the dean of the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, and ultimately the job fell to me. Really were gifted with wonderful co-chairs, most notably Warren Christopher. Chris really was an extraordinary asset to this organization, was profoundly committed to it and brought to it many of his well-known great strengths. And finally, currently, Bob Tuttle and Mickey Cantor are current co-chairs, without whom we really would not have achieved nearly as much as we have done to date.
In a global perspective, it's not just LA, but the further you move back, it's also LA in California and a neighbor of Silicon Valley. So that we also have a kind of can-do, innovative spirit. And the great challenges that face Americans and people around the globe, these are things that are really being addressed in very unique ways in Los Angeles. We have a really unique, tremendous opportunity to influence the trajectory, if you will, of entertainment, of international communication, of trade, and of ideas as we move forward.
The United States remains a beacon of freedom and opportunity precisely because the American dream has been and must remain open to all. I know that the Pacific Council will continue to support the cause of America's global leadership. We stand up for the rights and opportunities of all people. So it is our responsibility to live up to the legacy left by those who blaze that path before us.
You know, it's taken a while, but I do believe that the world is beginning to notice that there is another center of interest in the United States on foreign affairs. And Los Angeles and California has a very large percentage of people who are involved and interested in foreign affairs. This is an economic center of the world, and to a large degree politics and economics go hand in hand. I believe that the relevance of the Pacific Council will grow. To me, economically, politically, socially, culturally, it is more relevant today than it was when it started 20 years ago.